Hello, book connectors. Welcome back to the channel. Visitors, should you happen upon the channel, feel free to join us. We'd love to have you here. Well, hello there, book connectors. I am your host, Blue-Eyed Black Devil. I have the nerve to post 2 videos just this week alone. Anyway, I want to start off by thanking you all for responding to the video. I really didn't expect to see anybody respond, so I'll just keep posting. Well, I'll post. I guess YouTube must have needed a break from me, because I had, before this video the other day, December 11th, I think I put a couple of videos up and I might have gotten 2 comments. So I figured you're taking me out of the algorithm. I might as well take my time about posting since. Because otherwise it just feels like I'm talking to myself. And quite frankly, I don't have to mash record to really to talk to myself. But yes, about the last video I put up, I specifically wanted to talk more or less about Oprah Winfrey. Now, it's been 3 television programs that I have watched from beginning to end, from day 1 of the first episode. One of them was the Arsenio Hall show, the original one, not the one when he came back a few years ago, but the first one, late night. I watched that till it went off the air. Another one I watched all the way, and am still watching because right now it's still on, and that is The View. I've been there since episode number 1 all the way back in 1997. And then, obviously, well, it may not be obviously if you didn't pick up on that in that video I did, the other program I watched from episode 1 to the last episode was the Oprah Winfrey Show. Now, I really liked the topics she touched because she just seemed to be raw. It seemed that she was compassionate, or she was passionate about whatever she bought on there. She had her little light topics, from time to time about, I don't know, who would you rather, when it comes to outfits and stuff like that, or somebody might say something funny, and it was just all lighthearted. Well, it wasn't lighthearted always, obviously. But I'm telling you, that last, I would say 2 or 3 years she was on the air, for some reason, and I thought it was just me, but I could just, I wasn't going out of my way to watch. If I missed it, I'd just go back and rewatch it later on. And it got to the point to where when I started missing, I don't know, the guests weren't seeming to hold my attention. Oprah herself just was not, and I'm telling you what happened. Because like in that last video of Billy Joel's, he was just the ladies that I myself have seen who have said, some stuff that makes you go back and look at Oprah in a different light. And I've never, ever held anybody on a pedestal. But I do know that it was enough with Oprah for me to feel like her guest, I resonated with some of what she said, like when she talked about growing up and being essayed, and then, being pregnant at age 14, I think she said, and how she didn't bond with that baby because she wasn't pregnant long before she lost it. All that, I heard all of that, and I thought, oh, it's awful. It's awfully sad. Well, yeah, all that's true. But for me personally, he was just the latest in celebrities that I have seen or known of recently We can go back to when Toni Braxton was going through what she was going through, and Oprah had her as a guest on the show. And I don't know, I'm not very good at brand name stuff like, I don't know if she said it was Bill Blast silverware, flatware. It might have been Martha Stewart. I don't know, but I do know that when Toni was going through her bankruptcy and all of that stuff, and it came out that she had to, sell everything. And when the flatware, stemware came up, and she asked Toni something about it, and Toni said, well, yes, I had to let that go too. And Oprah Winfrey was like, well, I'm Oprah Winfrey, and I don't even have said brand flatware, stemware. Toni did not say this on the show, but afterwards, when she would be interviewed by other press junkets, she said what I wish she had said on the show, which was, Oprah, you do not have said brand name flat and stemware because you don't want it. I wanted it, and when I got it, I could afford it. So for you to, I'm Oprah Winfrey, and I don't even have whatever it was. She said, and when I saw Toni saying that, I was like, the only thing I wish had happened is she should have said it on the show. They said Oprah. She was the first person I think I saw. Then somewhere down the line, we eventually run into Monique. And to this day, I don't think she and Oprah speak. But when the movie Precious was out, that's the movie that the comedian Monique won the Oscar for. And when D. Daniel, Tyler Perry, not exactly sure what Oprah Winfrey had to do with it, but those are the three people that Monique, she just went on this run for, I guess it's still ongoing. I don't know. I try not to get caught up in that because how many times can you say the same thing? It's just, but she said, they, Lee Daniel and Tyler Perry were upset with Monique because they said they felt she wouldn't promote the movie. Monique said she was not required to promote the movie. They only paid her, I think she said she made $50,000, and she was okay with that because no one knew what the movie was going to do at the box office. So when it came out to be a smash, Monique did not go back and say, look, you owe me more because, I signed that deal on $50,000, but no one knew it was going to blow up the way it did. She didn't do that. What she said was, if you want me to promote the movie, you're going to have to pay me because I'm off. I have time with my husband and family. And that's where all that drama blew up. Okay. But Monique went on to, what was that? I think the show Club Shay Shay with that Shannon Sharp man. She was talking about it, and she said that even before this happened, she had been a guest on Oprah Winfrey's show before, I don't know how many times, but she had been on there, and she said that they had talked several times behind the scenes about, what life was like growing up. And if you don't know, Monique was S.A. by one of her brothers, and Oprah had also gone through that. And so they I guess Monique felt like they were bonding because they shared that, and it was just between the two of them. They talked, they cried, they did whatever you do. But at some point, I don't know if it was the same year, it may have even been another year or so, but at some point, Monique said that Oprah called her And she says, listen, I am going to do a show about, this topic. And I want to invite your family onto the show. And Monique said she told Oprah, that is fine. And Oprah said, okay, and I'm going to have your brother. She said, you can have one brother. Now, this I am paraphrasing because I don't remember word for word verbatim. But somewhere Monique made it clear to Oprah. I don't mind that my family is she asked her, did she want to come on the show? And Monique said, no, I don't want to be on that show. And I don't want the brother who violated me to be on the show. I just do not. And according to Monique, Oprah said, okay, I won't have him on. Now, they go on and take the show. I don't know if Monique was channel surfing or if she just happened to be somewhere and it was on TV. But she saw not only her parents and brother there. I don't even know if her sister was up there or not because I didn't watch it that day. I don't know how I missed it, but I didn't bother to go back to see it either. But that particular show, the brother who violated her, her other brother, her parents, and her sister were there. And at that time, Monique was estranged from every single one of them. And most of it is because when she brought this to her parents' attention, they blew her off. They dismissed it. They tried to say that it wasn't what it was. It's just by the grace of God. Well, if Monique got pregnant and behind that, she never said. But she felt like, well, Oprah did if this conversation took place. Now, Oprah has never admitted or denied, confirmed or denied that they had the conversation beforehand. But Oprah really doesn't comment on much of anything anyway, so that didn't really surprise me. But that had to be a hurting thing to know that you thought that you had found a like-minded soul in that way. She goes out of her way to ask you if it would be okay. And you gave her permission for everybody but that particular brother. I didn't like that at all. And I guess it's just as well that Oprah didn't bother to say anything because she couldn't. Yeah, I lied. I told her that I wasn't going to have him. But he was the box office draw. He was the pull. He is who everybody wanted to hear from to see what could possibly make him do what he did. She wasn't going. That was never going to come out. But okay, so, and I mean, this has been going on now for probably close to 10 years, I'd say. Her relationship, it appears right now to be forever severed with Oprah because neither Oprah nor Tyler Perry would come out and publicly apologize to her for whatever was going on with the movie Precious, whether she promoted it or whatever. They never would apologize. And she said they apologized to her in private. She wants them to apologize publicly to redeem her because she kind of got, well, she didn't kind of. Evidently, she was blackballed after all of this happened. And I'm not the biggest moviegoer. I tend to like to watch a lot of documentary type things and news. But I have seen a couple of movies with Monique, and I crack up, and then I think to myself, she was silenced way too soon. I think, like I say, I'm not a big moviegoer, and I have not read the book, and I don't believe I am going to read the book Precious, and I haven't watched the movie, but I have seen her in other movies, and I'm thinking to myself, she really is a comedic genius. I liked Shanique. I don't really care for her stand-up, though, But in the one or two movies I have seen where she was actually acting, I like that. Okay, well then that's Monique. We talked about Toni Braxton. We talked about Billy. We talked about Monique. All right, now, does anybody remember Octomom? Nadia Suleiman, I think it's her name. She was the one who had sextuplets, and then she turned around a few years later, maybe 3 years later. I believe it was closer to 2 years, and had octuplets. She had 8 babies, and this was, I believe, from sperm donor. She ended up with like 14 children under the age of maybe like 10. It was some ridiculous amount of children, and they were just, it was just way too much. Briefly, I know that she was an only child, and she had been educated. I think she was working on like her either a second master's or maybe even a PhD, but then she just decided, being an only child, she said it was lonely for her growing up. She didn't have any, any siblings and all of that. Okay, but why, oh, why so many? 6 would have been way too much for most people, but she did all of this as a single parent. Well, obviously, she ended up, okay, I don't know why people have so much to say to me time I start recording. Anyway, I'm back. She was doing this on her own, which obviously, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know raising 14 children on your own is just a bit overwhelming, and that's an understatement. So she goes on Oprah's show, and she talks about all of the children, and while she doesn't regret having the children, she really says that she doesn't regret the children, but she wishes she had, maybe thought, oh wait, it should have been enough time between all of them. Like maybe if, I'm just using this as an example because she didn't say that, but maybe if the 6 kids had been, I don't know, say like 14, 15, when she had the 8 other kids, where they were old enough to actually help her with those children, which is not necessarily their responsibilities. But when you got 6 children barely out of diapers themselves and you bring home 8 more, oh my gosh. But okay, so she comes on the show, and then that finance lady, I think her name is Susie Orman, something like that. She came on, and they sit there, and to me, they berated that lady. They just went in head over feet. Oh boy, she was almost everything but a child of God. I just felt like that was over and done, I don't think she had to be told that she had overdone it. I don't think she had to be told that she was going to struggle, because if I'm not mistaken, a lot of services did step in the beginning, with the helping her when the babies came home, with the overnight, they were pulling shifts. I think somebody donated a van or something to her, and she had cribs, and she had all of this. But when the babies began to grow, and walk, that kind of fades away. People usually go on back once the fascination or excitement wears off. People go back to whatever it is. And she's still left there. I think she was on food stamps, food assistant, EBT, whatever you want to call it. But that in and of itself was not enough. You got 15 mouths to feed. And it's got to be done day in, day out. The diapers, And I believe, I could be mistaken, but at least one of those children in that group of 8, one of them was born with some sort of special needs. Maybe they outgrew whatever it was, but that's what that was. And basically, after Oprah and that lady Susie Orman, they just did it. Didn't they were like, we're going to help you, or we're going to give you this much, but in return, you've got to do this, and I get it. If you have money, or not on Oprah's level, I understand where you're going to dole out, because I don't remember how much it was and for how many years, if any. It may have just been a one-time donation. I don't know. But it was like they wanted this girl to jump through hoops backwards and do a couple of somersaults before you land on your feet and facing them again. I just thought that, I think that I would just want to go through the ground. I'm on TV basically getting cursed out and shamed because of something I know now. I should have done things differently, and I am so broke or so poor that I have no other choice but to go on TV. If it means keeping my children fed, us all under one roof. I don't know what the conditions were, but I know it had a lot to do, because that finance lady, I think that's what she did. If you, I think she worked with people who may have filed bankruptcy, or they may be in debtor's court, or whatever it is, and she helps you get your finances in order. And I think that's what she was doing. But I just don't think it was necessary for them to beat her up mentally or verbally speaking. I think she didn't need to be told that perhaps this was not the wisest thing to do. But that's what she did. And those are just the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Toni Braxton, Billy Joel, Monique, and Nadia Suleiman, the octo mom with 14 children. She had 6, and this turned around and had 8 more, all by herself. But I just feel like, and then since all of that happened, and then I cannot remember, but looked like her best friend Gayle King, she interviewed somebody, and I think she kept harping on, it was a lady, but something had happened, and Gayle kept harping on it, and I think she got drugged for it. I think a lot of people fell out or got dragged. I don't mean to say that she was, somebody spiked something. I mean, they just dogged her because of that particular interview. And I seen Oprah on TV a few days after, whatever it was, and she was crying, talking about the vitriol, and Gayle was so hurt. Gayle probably was hurt. But you didn't show that same compassion to your guests that you dogged, I guess, because you feel like they are. And they're closer to your league than whoever that other lady is. It was a person, if I'm not mistaken, either she's an actress or an athlete. I don't know. But whatever it was, whoever she is, her fans were not happy with Gayle's interview of that person. And then Oprah was just crying and going on. And I didn't watch the interview. I don't know who this other person, the interviewee, was. But I know that if Gayle conducted that interview the way Oprah conducted hers, especially that last couple of years she was on air, I know that I could understand why the interviewee's fans, and possibly even the person, were upset with Oprah. You can never make so much money that you forget that everybody has stepping stones they must climb one at a time. And I will go to my grave believing that manners, kindness will get you further in life than any dollar bill ever will. Does that mean I don't want or need or like money? No. But I know that with that comes responsibility. It's a privilege for some. And it's nothing that you just too practical and too responsible to just throw money up in the air and do whatever people do if they have said money. We know Oprah has money. And I just feel like, okay, if you're going to help someone, help them. But we don't have to see you dog this person out in order for you to give whatever it was you gave. Okay, book connectors. I just had to get that little bit out about Oprah. I was very dismayed when I read that about what Billy Joel said, because he was just the latest in a list of people. That list, unfortunately, seems to be growing. Her light is dimming. Her light is dimming. And I don't like that. I think when she first came out, yeah, she was 100. I don't mean literally. Not about her weight. She just seemed to have a love of learning, and she seemed to have a love of words, and I love both of those, and she was able to command respect. No problem. But I would hate for her legacy to go out the route it's going. Maybe, just maybe, she will look at her feedback from her different shows. Because I watched the show on YouTube. I think it had something to do about parents and adult children who prefer to distance themselves from each other, children from parents, parents from children. Sometimes it may be one child who is estranged, but sometimes it's, a family that's estranged from one child. Either way it goes. This was and I watched it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I never knew anything like that was going on. But it reminded me of why I liked Oprah in the first place. She went back to that person when she was, grinding, like the first maybe 10 years or so of her show. That's what it reminded me of. And hopefully, if she continues to interview and do shows, hopefully she'll go back to that. That was the Oprah that I liked. All right, well, enough about Miss Winfrey. Now with this stuff with YouTube, I hate to sound like I'm just nagging and complaining, because believe me, I'm not doing it just because. It's been plenty. I have read so many books and I have watched so many documentaries. I don't know that I'll ever put up all of the videos, because I just read, and I don't know, sometimes I'll start out liking something and then I just go dull. Nothing excites me when it comes to reading, and I miss that. And if I don't ever pick it up again, I hope I will. I'm reading now. I just finished reading the other Barack, the president, a book about President Obama's father. And that was good, but goodness gracious, it was something. But I don't know yet if I want to do a video. If y'all see this and you hear me say something about it, if you think you want me to do a video of it, I will. I've read several books. I just don't have the energy to do all of this editing and videoing only for YouTube to not put me in. I was on a real good pace there with the algorithm, or so I thought. And then just out of nowhere, it looks like I first started getting something talking about this is not a copyright strike, but blah, 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 blah. And then, okay, that was with the music, so I haven't been using music in my videos, beginning or end. And I might get literally 2 views, and I'm doing good to get that. And that's on either or both channels. This video I put up the other day, about, the last part of Billy Joel's story, I think I got like 9 or 10 views, and I was thankful for those. Because like I said, either at the beginning of this video, it wasn't this one, I don't just necessarily need to record myself to hear me talk. I already know what I'm thinking. I already know what I'm going to do, what I'm doing, or what I did. But if YouTube is only going to put me out there, like when I guess it might be a slow days in pop culture or the news or whatever, then you want to reach back and grab a video. I don't like stuff like that. But in the meantime, I see that we did gain a new subscriber. We're up to 75 people. So somebody somewhere is seeing something. I don't know. So I cannot promise you that I will put videos out the way I was. But please know that I am still going to post. And just if I don't come up in your feed, maybe once a month, once every other week or so, if you don't see anything in your feed, just run the name through there, the book connection, or either Ms. Music, and you just, I keep wanting to say, but yeah, a lot of people say that people are not, content creators aren't being seen or heard. But that's just a lot of stuff to just be sitting somewhere waiting on them to throw you a bone. So what I have decided to do, I am still reading. I really am. The next video is probably going to be on a book I read about Alzheimer's. And that book, I found that it was very personal to me because I've had several loved ones in my family. I've lost 2 people already, and I have 2 more older cousins who are currently going through it. And so I will put that book up. That's going to be the very next video I post. But as for what I am reading a book about actress Vivian Vance. She played Ethel Mertz on the show I Love Lucy. Her book seems to be very good. I've never seen, I don't even know if I've ever seen any interviews with Vivian Vance. I just don't know. But I am loving her book now. If I can get enough positive response, and I know it's not my subbies. Never that. It's never y'all. That's YouTube. Y'all don't have anything to do. You don't have anything to do with that. And I don't either. So I know you're out there. And I most definitely think you made me feel so good to just read those responses yesterday. Thank you all so much. So for now, I am going to wrap it up. I just wanted to say that about Oprah. I am going to go back and polish up the video for the Alzheimer's book. And just know that I'm out here and I'm thinking about you all. And remember, subscribers, let me tell you again, thank you for being subscribed. I really do appreciate you. And visitors, feel free to join us over here. And everyone, please do not forget to like, share, comment respectfully. And by all means, make sure that your notification bells are not only turned on, but they need to be set to this channel, as well as my other channel, Ms. Music, like, so you will know every time I upload a video, or eventually you'll know that I uploaded a video. And with all of that being said, book connectors, remember this. As long as there are books around, there is always something to read. Book lovers, be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and hopefully you'll have a great work week next week. And until we read again, be safe and God bless.